There is a moment when possibility and urgency collide, a whisper in the stillness that says, "This is your year." Not because the calendar changed, but because something changed in you. Fear's voice didn't quiet itself. Your excuses didn't vanish. But somehow, you did. And that shift, though barely audible, is seismic. It's the soul's uprising. It's the moment the dream you've been carrying since childhood stands, no longer a memory but a demand. Welcome to 2025, a year pregnant with potential and tempered by disruption. The world is moving faster, louder, more uncertain. Satellites, global voices, all moving at light speed. And yet, amid the chaos, the ancient truth remains: your dreams demand more than intention. They demand strategy. They demand a map. They demand the 3 secrets, the compass guiding every hero who ever dared to rise. Secrets. Not shortcuts, not hacks. Secrets. Rarely spoken because they demand what most won't give. Clarity beyond comfort, discipline beyond desire, resilience beyond reason. These secrets don't promise easy. They demand unflinching courage. Because the fastest way to fail is to chase without truth. So here they are, not bullet points. They're not to memorize. They're to breathe. To embody. Because your year will be shaped by how you live these secrets every day. The first secret lives in the crucible of vision and clarity. A map without direction is meaningless, yet most chase their dreams without ever naming them. Edison didn't chase electricity. He chased the promise of light. Steel wasn't Carnegie's dream. It was the idea of industrial freedom. Disney didn't chase cartoons. He chased imagination realized. It's clarity that separates a spark from a bonfire. But clarity is more than seeing the finish line. It's feeling it, every morning, every night. It's hearing the echo of your dreams in the bones of your routine. It's seeing the who you'll become, not just the what you'll accomplish. Vision framed by depth turns goals into gravity, pulling every choice toward them. And clarity anchored in emotional truth makes fear optional. So ask yourself, what would you stand for if failure weren't possible? What life would you design if expectations fell silent? When that question hits, you're not chasing dreams. You're calling them home. But vision isn't enough without the second secret, discipline in design. Desire without structure is dust. Dreams are built by design, habits, rituals, systems, accountability. Lincoln didn't achieve unity on a whim. Edison didn't build light in a flash. They had secret blueprints etched in midnight hours. Blueprint days where every action answered the question, does this bring me closer to my vision? Discipline isn't brutal. It's love on impulse control. It's daily whispers, not that. This. It's choosing the early leap over late comfort. It's writing the paragraph instead of scrolling another feed. It's lifting the weight that wants to stay on the rack. It's a 1% upgrade every morning. Because transformation is silent work done long before visible success demands it. This design is personal. It owes nothing to comparison. A filmmaker's routine won't work for an athlete. A coder's schedule may kill a musician's rhythm. You must architect your own scaffolding. Journal your wins. Audit your days. Clean garbage habits. Double down on leverage routines. And then, protect them like your dream's life support. Notice how vision and discipline intertwine. They become twin engines, one pointing the way, the other blowing the wind. Alone, they're fragile. Together, they bend steel. But steel bends. It doesn't stay. It shifts. It adjusts. That brings us to the third secret. Resilience through adaptation. 2025 is not like 2020. The tectonic plates of economy, technology, attention, they shift overnight. Markets swing. Businesses pivot. Algorithms vanish. If you think resilience means holding tight, you've missed the point. Resilience means bending with the quake and rising when the dust clears. Think of Ford thriving through the Great Depression. Tesla pivoting production lines. Oprah reconstructing her empire after disaster. They didn't hold on to outdated models. They listened. Saw the next turn. And adjusted the sails. That is resilience, not stubbornness. Not numb endurance, but aware endurance. So build feedback. Daily. Weekly. Monthly. Learn fast. Iterate. Let data and instinct shape your moves. Founders call it pivoting. Athletes call it adjusting to conditions. Philosophers call it living in accordance with nature. It means you never stop learning. You never stop observing. You never mistake speed for progress. You iterate direction from grounded clarity paired with disciplined action. We've lit the bonfire. We've built the engine. We've given it the flexibility to survive storms. But this is not a speech. It's a living strategy. It must breathe in your breath. It must pulse in your palms. It must live in the scorching insistence of your waking hour. So stand up. Not later. Not when you feel ready. Right now. 2025 isn't waiting. If you chase the map without building your compass, it turns invisible. If you build habits without vision, you're digging graves. If you hold on to systems without adapting them, they'll snap under pressure. These three secrets, clarity, discipline, resilience, are not individual achievements. They are your lifeblood. They are what will shape a year of progress, significance, and breakthrough. Tomorrow morning, ask yourself, what did I do today that advanced my vision? Tomorrow night, ask, where did I lean? Where did I adjust? Where did I choose comfort over growth? Because in every conscious choice, in every small act, these secrets pulse. They pulse in the drafts you write, the reps you take, the pivot you initiate, the relationship you invest in, the surrender you practice. They pulse in your clearest yes and your most determined no. If you lean into these secrets every day of 2025, you won't just chase dreams, you'll capture a life built from spirit, sweat, and intelligence. You'll become someone who does not wait for culture. You'll become the culture. Because culture is merely the sum of daily victories by people brave enough to invite transformation. The world will offer you distractions dressed as urgency. Noise masquerading as opportunity. But your focus, your ability to stay true to your vision, discipline, and adaptation, is your rebellion. In a world that celebrates busy, stillness is a weapon. In a culture obsessed with reaction, strategic silence is sacred. So you must guard your inner world like a sacred vault. Because everything you are building, your future, your freedom, your fulfillment, rises or collapses based on one thing, the quality of your attention. Ask any giant who built before you. Carnegie didn't scatter himself across fleeting pleasures. He aimed like a spear. Tesla, in solitude, dreamt beyond his time. Da Vinci obsessed over anatomy not for fame, but for mastery. What they all knew is what you must now embrace: greatness is not loud, it's precise. And precision comes from attention. Not just where you look, but how deeply you see. There will be days in 2025 when the dream feels distant. When the grind feels mechanical. That's not a signal to quit, it's a test. A test of stamina. A test of identity. Will you continue to walk even when no applause meets your footsteps? Will you build even when nobody claps? That's what separates those who visit success from those who live there. The visionaries of every generation had to become friends with boredom. Masters of repetition. Champions of delay. They stared into the abyss of time, of obscurity, and they kept moving. Not because it felt good, but because the mission was worth more than the mood. That's the edge in 2025. The weapon that can't be bought, posted, or downloaded, endurance. A long obedience in the same direction, no matter how the wind screams. You see, the mountain doesn't move for anyone. It stands in silence, waiting. And those who reach the summit are not the ones who shouted the loudest at the base. They're the ones who learned to love the climb when the air got thin, and the rocks bloodied their hands. So when you wake tomorrow and the pressure whispers, just one day off, remember this: rest is sacred, but so is momentum. You must know the difference. Rest renews. Hesitation robs. Learn to move even when tired, especially when tired. Because those steps compound. Those days stack. And the ones who win in December are the ones who bled in July. And now we arrive at a power that transcends every secret before it. A force that magnifies vision, discipline, and resilience into something untouchable. That force is purpose. Purpose is what turns goals into soul. What transforms routines into rituals. It is not a slogan. It's a fire. And when lit, it doesn't burn out. It consumes everything that's not aligned. Purpose does not always feel poetic. It's not a TED Talk. It's the call you return when your body wants to shut down. It's the promise you keep to yourself when nobody is watching. It's the reason you show up, again and again, until the result matches the resolve. It may come from pain. From watching your family struggle. From being told you'd never become more than average. From nights you cried over failure and promised yourself never again. Or it may come from love. From a vision of something better. A child you'd die for. A mission bigger than money. Something divine whispering, this is what you were made for. Whatever the source, don't suppress it. Don't tame it. Let it roar. Let it tear down what's false and resurrect what's real. Because when purpose becomes your operating system, doubt has no foothold. You begin to see differently. Walk differently. Speak differently. Time bends in your favor. People feel your presence before you speak. You stop chasing motivation and start embodying conviction. And this is where transformation truly begins. When your purpose becomes louder than your fear. When your routine becomes louder than your excuses. When your inner standard becomes higher than the world's expectations. This is the version of you that no longer begs life for change, but commands it. This is the version that builds legacies, not lifestyles. That writes chapters, not tweets. That touches generations, not just screens. So the question is no longer, what's your dream? It's, what price are you willing to pay? Not in money, but in focus. In consistency. In your ability to cut away everything that does not belong to your future. You have 3 secrets. But they are not magic. They are not gifts. They are tools. And in your hands, they either collect dust, or shape destiny. Use them. Because this is not just another year. This is the one where the world will either tell your story. Or remember your silence. You were not born for neutrality. You were not crafted by the chaos of atoms to simply exist, blend in, scroll endlessly, and echo what others say. You are here to carve. To build. To ignite. Every day you delay stepping into that truth, you dull the blade of your own becoming. Somewhere inside you, there is a version that doesn't flinch. Doesn't hesitate. A version that doesn't negotiate with mediocrity, doesn't justify laziness, doesn't trade vision for comfort. And that version is not fiction. It's buried beneath the noise. Beneath the stories you've believed for too long. The ones that told you you're not ready. Not worthy. Not the kind who succeeds. Burn them. With the fire of intention. Because if there's one thing the greats have taught us, Lincoln, who failed election after election. Edison, who failed 1,000 times before light. Disney, whose dreams were laughed out of boardrooms. Oprah, who was told she wasn't made for TV, it's this. Your current circumstance does not determine your permanent reality. Your environment is not your fate. Your past is not a prison. Your self-doubt is not a life sentence. All of it, every obstacle, every detour, every voice of limitation, can be overridden by a single decision: I will no longer shrink. Fear may visit, but it will not stay. Failure may arrive, but it will not define. Setbacks may come, but they will not consume. And that fire inside, that hunger to become, that is your proof. Proof that you're not meant to play small in 2025. Proof that your goals are not hallucinations. They are instructions. And the more you ignore them, the more pain will rise, not because you're broken, but because your soul is demanding you listen. You've seen what playing small looks like. You've lived it. You felt the ache of untapped potential, the sting of dreams unspoken, the torment of scrolling through someone else's success while you bury your own. But this year, the script changes. You become the author. No longer waiting for the perfect moment, because you realize, the moment becomes perfect when you show up fully. The moment bends when you commit. When you go all in, not with half a heart, not with, maybe someday, not with a toe in the water. But with blood, sweat, silence, and soul. This year, you stop auditioning for your own life. You step onto the stage. You speak the truth. And you let the world adjust to the power of your presence. No more asking for permission. No more explaining your dreams to people who are afraid of their own. No more watering yourself down to keep others comfortable. This is the year you become undeniable. Not because you're louder. But because you're deeper. You've built roots, vision in the marrow, discipline in the muscle, resilience in the spirit. That kind of strength doesn't need to shout. It speaks through presence. Through work. Through energy. People will feel it. You will feel it. And everything around you will begin to shift. Because life doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to who you are. And the moment you become the person who moves, who creates, who acts from clarity, who adapts with strength, the world starts rearranging in your favor. Opportunities you once thought were locked begin to open. Conversations begin to change. Rooms you were once too afraid to enter, now you're invited in, not because you waited, but because you walked. And when people ask, how did you do it, you'll know. You'll know it wasn't magic. It wasn't luck. It was choice, commitment, and the quiet war you fought every morning between who you were and who you could be. That's the difference. That's the real secret behind the 3 secrets. It's not the knowledge. It's the embodiment. Anyone can write goals. Few will live them. Anyone can read about vision. Few will stare at their dream until it burns their retinas into action. Anyone can download a habit tracker. Few will bleed through the boredom until the habits become identity. Anyone can claim to be resilient. Few will walk through emotional fire with calm eyes and forward steps. You want to know who wins? The ones who turn this from theory into ritual. Not once. Not when it's easy. But every day. When it's ugly. When it's quiet. When no one sees. Because that's where power is forged, in secret. In private. In the places where applause doesn't reach, but purpose does. And the best part? You don't need anyone's blessing. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need today. One step. One page. One rep, one breath spoken with certainty, I am becoming. That's it. The rest will meet you on the path. Keep walking. Because there comes a moment, a sacred, thunderous moment, where you no longer ask, can I do this? But instead declare, it will be done through me. That's when the world begins to shift. Not because the world changed, but because you did. You stopped waiting for signs. You became the signal. You stopped hoping for breakthroughs. You became the force that breaks through. That's the moment mountains bow. The moment storms scatter. The moment resistance becomes fuel. You no longer run from fear, you dance with it. You no longer shrink in the face of challenge, you rise. You become fire wrapped in skin. Unshakable. Untouchable. Not because you are immune to pain, but because you've made peace with it. You've transformed it. Molded it. Turned it into purpose. This is the soul of achievement, not trophies, not likes, not praise, but liberation. The unshackling of every story that once told you, not yet. And the embracing of the truth that whispered, all along, why not now? Think back to that child you once were. The one who dreamed without filter. Who believed without apology. Who saw the world not for what it was, but what it could be. That child is still in you. But they've been waiting, for you to stop playing the role society wrote and start becoming the author of your own story. Don't betray that child. Don't betray the vision that has carried you this far, the late nights that cracked you open, the early mornings that tested your fire, the setbacks that tried to bury you. Only to find you were a seed. You're growing now. Not at the speed of social media. But at the speed of truth. So trust it. Trust the silence. Trust the grind. Trust the stretching, the aching, the rebuilding. Trust that in the dark, something holy is forming. Because this is not just about you. You becoming your best self is not selfish. It's service. Every time you rise, you become permission for someone else to rise. Every time you tell the truth of your soul, you free another. Every time you refuse to quit, you light a fire in the hearts of those still asleep. That's the ripple. That's the revolution. And that's why it matters. Your vision isn't just a goal, it's a torch. You carry it not just for you, but for every person who gave up too soon. For every dream buried under fear. For every voice that was silenced before it could sing. Carry it. Through doubt. Through noise. Through fatigue. Carry it through the storm until it becomes the sunrise. Let your life in 2025 be the evidence that transformation is not only possible, it's inevitable for the one who refuses to bow. You don't need more motivation. You need a mirror. To see what's already there. To meet the warrior behind your own eyes. The builder behind your scars. The lion beneath your skin. So stand tall. With clarity in your mind, discipline in your hands, and purpose in your chest. Make this the year the world stops sleeping on you, not because they finally noticed you. But because you finally noticed yourself. And once that happens, you are unstoppable. This is your time. This is your mountain. This is your legacy. So go. Build it. Bleed for it. And whatever you do, never look back.